Identity exploration. Question one: who am I? In looking at the big eight, I initially went through and identified where or how I identify with those top eight. And starting with race, I identify as white, ethnicity as Caucasian, gender is male, socioeconomic class, student and teacher, middle class citizen. Sexual orientation would be heterosexual, ability would be non disabled, 6'3", 200 pounds, age 39, nationality American. In thinking about those and starting to rank them and ultimately identify which ones I'm most aware of, when I was going through that activity, I felt like things have definitely changed. Different times in my life, I would say there were different rankings that I would have. Currently, right now, with a job change, getting into education, starting a new career at my age, has me ranking these identities a little bit different than, say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, even back into college or growing up. Currently, how I would rank them, number one would be socioeconomic class, student, a teacher, middle class, gender being male, ability, and age. I would kind of put it there in the three and four. Five being my race, six being sexual orientation, seven being my ethnicity, Caucasian, eight being nationality. What am I most aware of based off of that ranking, or maybe a better way to put it, what am I most aware of in my current situation, getting into education? And when I say education, I'm specifically talking about elementary education. I think the ones I am most aware of are gender to start with. I think gender is a big one for me right now that I'm most aware of. Being male in elementary education is unique in that I have become a minority. You don't see as many males in elementary education. Right now, I'm in sixth grade with three other sixth grade teachers, all males. In elementary, I think there are in the school a total of three males, which is K through 5. In my cohort at school, through friend school, I think 6 out of the 30 are males. So, what am I most aware of? It currently, right now, would be gender, um, which I think is unique because, I mean, tying into Johnson's article that we read or reading that we had, Privilege, Oppression, and Difference. One of my privileges is being male. This, I think, is still obviously a privilege for me. However, I find myself in the minority where I'm at. Being in the minority, though, I don't think is impacting or will impact the privilege that I gain by being white, one, but also being male. I think that's actually going to be a privilege that I get for a couple of different reasons. One, just because of our society and the privilege that comes along with being male. And I keep wanting to say male and white because I think those two go kind of hand in hand in my situation. But I also think that I'm gaining the privilege of just being that minority in that there aren't a lot of males in this opportunity in elementary education. Um, that piece of it, not a lot of males in this career path, to me is an opportunity and a benefit that I get, or at least I hope I will get to gain during job interviews and getting a job. However, this doesn't take away from the fact that being white male is a privilege there and associated with the reading from Johnson. I think that is something that the point I want to get across there in that reading that ties into identifying who I am is that while that privilege is there, I think it's so important that that I don't that I respect that from the standpoint of not abusing that. I think that's what's most important when reading that, is that with privilege, white male privilege, there's a lot of feeling attacked when someone says that you're privileged because of that, and wanting to disregard that. And I think that's what Johnson talks about is one of the biggest things that is impacting why that still lies around, is that we don't want to address it, and we don't want to admit it. I want to admit it, I want to address it, and I don't want that to be something that I take advantage of. So in what I'm aware of, it's a few different reasons. One, where I'm at right now. Two, the reading from Johnson, and that I don't want to abuse that privilege, and I don't want to be oblivious to that. I want to understand that, and I don't want to take advantage of that. On the flip side of that, in the role, in the career path I'm taking, it's definitely something that makes me aware of it as well, being the minority. The other ones I would say would be age. So age, I'm aware of right now. I mean, starting a new career, 39 years old, it definitely has me aware of that identity. I'm not right out of college looking to get into my first career. I was in a career for 12, 13 years, and have now changed that. And at my age, once this process begins of looking to get hired, interviewed, it's something I'm aware of, is how will that impact me? Will that impact me? Will that impact me going against younger individuals? I don't know. And that's something that I'm aware of right now, and something that I'm interested to see how that plays out. Again, I'm in a place of privilege, being a white male, and my age is actually, if you look at the power continuum from Keevil, my age is actually a PowerPoint. I'm wondering, will it be something that will also impact me, potentially negative, going against a younger crowd in job interviews for the first, for my first teaching position. The last one that I would identify with is socioeconomic class. This has changed for me recently, going through this and becoming a student teacher. Income has changed, and that's something that I'm aware of as well, is that, making less money, starting over, beginning a new path is something that I identify with right now, and that's impacting one of my traits, the socioeconomic piece. It's impacting my family. We've had to change things from a spending perspective, from a living perspective, and it's been something that has gone, not without its trials. So it's definitely something that I'm aware of. So those would be the three that I'm most aware of currently right now, in who I am and the character traits, and what groups that I feel like most are impacting me currently at this point in my life. I think, again, like I said, I think these potentially can change. I feel like they have changed for me. Some of the ones that I brought up are things that I'm aware of right now, specifically because of the position, the career path, the place in life that I'm at. And I also feel like this was a good activity from the standpoint of being aware of my gender, and how gender for me is a privilege. And again, I can't stress how much from the Johnson reading, I don't want to abuse that privilege, because that to me from the reading was scary, in the sense that that oblivious factor, that white males don't have to think about a lot of times competing against people of color. Don't think about how things are just kind of handed to us, from the standpoint of we don't get looked at differently because of our color or because of our gender, and sometimes we just forget about that. That was something that, again, I don't want to take for granted. So this activity has been unique for me and cool for me to check that out and kind of understand that. And then also from the standpoint of that twist of being a current kind of minority right now at this time in elementary education as a male, made this interesting to look at, and kind of a twist that I kind of thought through when doing question one, who am I?